Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live broadcast of the Kev Baker Show. If we have any listeners left, that is, after yesterday, of course. How you all doing? Hope you're all raring to go. I sure am. We're going to get into lots of news tonight. I'm going to give a little update on some of the 5G information that we were covering last night as well. As the show progresses, we've got news on the magnetic polar north still doing its thing, doing its little wandering act. What else do we have? Ah, yes, we also have news about J.K. Rowling. I know, Kev talking about J.K. Rowling. What's that all about? Well, she has fallen victim to some of the people that she helped to weaponize. We'll be getting into all of that, and of course, it wouldn't be a KBS anymore if we didn't have open lines. Yes, there will be open lines in the second half of today's show. You can phone up, we can get into some woo. And of course, over in America right now, Truth Frequency Radio being based in America. Big shout out to all of our American listeners. I would love to talk to you about what is going on with Donald Trump right now, but I have absolutely no clue. I'm clueless when it comes to this whole impeachment thing. Every time I hear impeachment, my brain thinks James and the Giant Peach. So when I hear about Trump being impeached, I literally think about Trump in a peach. I know it's crazy, but I had some people emailing me today asking me if I would talk about it, and I honestly don't know enough about it. But what I will do is I will either get Scotty Lopez to come on very soon. He keeps his eye on all this stuff. He's very keen politically. He can explain it to me and all of you out there so we gain a better understanding of what is or what isn't going on. So that's something to look forward to in the future. And if Scott can't come on and do that, then maybe I'll get one of our guests we've had on in the past that talks to these kind of subjects. So I want to give everyone over at TFR Live a big shout out before we get going today. Yes, indeed. And if you want to be in the chat room over at tfrlive.com, all you got to do, it's totally free of charge. Just head on over, tfrlive.com/chat, and you'll be in there with all the good people and all the thousands that are listening around the world right now on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio app, TalkStream Live, and the YouTube simulcast as well. A big, huge hello to all of you. So before we get going, let me just give a quick shout out to these great people who have made their way to the Wookiee Cave. I'm pleased to see you all there. Sophia the bot, she is number 1 in the chat room. After yours truly, of course. I'm only joking. But first up, we've got Alan. And Alan called into the show yesterday. It was absolutely fantastic to speak to you, Alan. I love speaking to all of our listeners. It's really, really refreshing to have the phones open nowadays. And I say it's refreshing because I went for years really, really apprehensive about opening the phones, talking to people just about random subjects in case, maybe something came up and it was something I couldn't address or just whatever. I just wasn't comfortable at all, opening the phones for whatever reason it was. And away from the YouTube and the radio show and everything else, publicly, I'm quite a reserved, quiet, shy guy until you get to know me. And I maybe I've started to get over that little stumbling block, and that's why we're getting good phone calls now, and I'm loving it. I hope you're enjoying it. I know a lot of the listeners have been messaging me to say that they really enjoy it. I know this comparisons between Coast to Coast and Art Bell and Clyde Lewis, ditch them already, folks. Ditch them. Those 3 shows, people, whatever you want to refer to them as, absolutely massive when it comes to the kind of things that we're doing here. And I could never, ever hope to be as good as them. But we can be as good as KBS can be, right? And I need all of you for that. Or at least all of the people that are still here. And I'll be getting to that in just a moment. Don't worry about that. But we've got Bam in the chat room. We've got the Wookiee. We've got Kenny. We've got Bill 13. Smelly Pits. OMG. And like I say, if you want to head on over, get some of the chat going, you can go to tfrlive.com/chat. So I was speaking with one of our good friends today, Sid. Now, Sid is over in Norway, and Sid does a lot of work in the electronic and electrical field. And we were talking a little bit about last night's show. And one thing that I really want to clear up off the bat is a little bit of ambiguity that I was guilty for yesterday. And I even went back and listened to it. And I wasn't very clear when it came to whether or not our routers in the house, sitting on our desks or wherever you've got them, the ones that have a 2G and a 5G channel, I went for years thinking it was the same as the 5G that we're talking about when it comes to cellular technology. However, yesterday when I was speaking about this on the show, I wasn't very clear at all. And what I've done is I've pulled up an article, which I'll get into in a moment. I want to address something first. And it came to light maybe 5-10 minutes before the show. And accusations of me being compromised. But I hate to burst the bubble, but this isn't a spy movie we're working in. And on the contrary to what a lot of other people in alternative media and on YouTube will tell you, there isn't spooks flying about all the time trying to offer you envelopes of money. There isn't companies coming along all the time telling you to talk about one thing or another. I wish there was. Not as exciting as that. It really is. And I've always said all along, I will never tell you what to think. I could never dare do that, and I wouldn't dare do that. What I do is I provide, you decide. Now, looking at the analytics and the amount of downvotes and the comments on yesterday's video, I knew right off the bat, I knew straight away, I said it in opening the show, it was going to be controversial. People aren't going to like to hear this. And they didn't. Now, does that mean I've been compromised because I done yesterday's show? Have I been bought off by Verizon, AT&T, Virgin Mobile, EE in the UK? Well, with Christmas coming up, I could do with the money, but again, unfortunately not. When it comes to 5G technology, I'm pretty much a layman. And I would imagine, unless you're working in the industry, you'd be in that same kind of position too. I broadcast on Truth Frequency Radio. Truth Frequency. To that end, I'll have to tell you the truth. And the truth is that I don't know whether or not we should be scared of 5G. I truly don't. And if you want me to lie, just to give you a black pill, to give you that fear that some people are looking for, then it's not here. I can't do that. Because I could happily appease the masses right now and tell everyone 5G is going to be the end of the world. It's going to kill us all. It's going to be the end of humanity. But I don't actually know that. And to be honest with you, I don't believe it is going to be that. Would you rather me be honest with you? Or would you rather I lie to you so that you get your black pill and you get your fear dose for the day? I ain't here to spread fear. I just ain't. And all I can do is be as honest as I can. One, I am not a 5G expert. Never claimed to be. Did use some of the frequencies when I was in the army 20 years ago. And here I am. I'm still here. Most of the guys I served with on the satellite detachment, I say most of them because I haven't actively searched for all of them, but I would imagine most of them still here, like me. Does that mean it's safe? Absolutely not. It'd be ridiculous for me to make that jump, that leap. Now, also on the back of this, does that mean that I'm going toe-to-toe with previous guests like Ilana Freeland, like Deborah Tavares, like anyone who's come on and spoke badly about 5G? Nope. Why? Because I'm trying to learn more about it. And in the process, I hope all of you out there understand, I'm hoping that you will learn more about it as well. Why? Because there's so much ambiguity and fear out there. And I have to be honest, and I have to say that when I look around the alternative media and it's all this anti-5G propaganda, then I have to wonder where it's coming from. And when I do the deep dive and I look to find where it's coming from, I find as much pro 5G information as I do anti 5G information. Where does the truth lie? Well, I don't know. I don't know. That's why all I can ever hope to do is say, I provide and you decide. Now, yesterday, I thought by explaining that even some of the companies who are saying they have 5G already available, yet they were basically using old 4G frequencies and bands and technology to do it and basically give you a 5G light. I thought hopefully people will see that and they'll think, well, you know, maybe we just need a bit more time. Let's look into this. Maybe it wasn't exactly what we've been told. But judging by the reaction to last night's show, I don't think that happened. And looking at the analytics on last night's show, most people did not even wait to hear all of the 5G information. I'm pretty sure, I, you know, I'm pretty sure I said it often enough. I don't know if it's going to harm you or not. I really don't. Now, one of the Discord people has said that, Sid it was, again, sorry, Sid in Norway, he asked me if I would go and clarify the whole kind of 5G router versus 5G cellular. So we're going to do that. And I'm sorry I had to take 10 minutes of time reiterating what the show's about and the fact that we're on truth frequency and I have to try and be as honest as I can. And if I'm being honest, I don't know if it's harmful. Now, if that offends you, me saying that, so be it. There's nothing I can do. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here to give you the information. What you do with it is entirely up to you. And if you decide that the information that Kev gives you is enough to ditch, 4, 5 years of listening to the show, then fair enough. We go our separate ways. No harm done. Shake hands, be friends at the end of it, and go and tune into somebody else. I've got no problem with that. I just think it's important for all of you to know that when I don't know something, I will tell you. I won't just jump on a bandwagon and tell you everything's scary because that's what people want to hear. And what is it about this community, this truth community, that it seems more and more people, they're not wanting truth per se. They're wanting infotainment or they're wanting that black pill. I don't get it. But then I'm not here to psychoanalyze people. You don't come here to listen to me psychoanalyzing people. You come here to hear my quirky little self, give my quirky little show. And some people will love it. Some people will hate it. But all I can do is continue to go on, okay? And just do what I do. So with that said, let's trigger some more people, shall we? And let's face it, let's get into the first story today. And please don't, if I know there was somebody in the YouTube chat room that was really, really quite angry and quite confused as to what was going on and my stance on things. The opening of my show was not directed at you. I already knew I was going to talk about this tonight. I'd already looked at the comments. So please don't think I'm singling any one person out here. Not my job, not what I'm here for, not how I roll. But what I will try to do is I will try to clarify some of the stuff that we have gone over in the past where I can. And if I'm still confused and I still don't know, don't hate me for it. I'm going to tell you I don't know. Now, am I scared of the 5G technology that's coming our way? Me personally, I'm not. Now, if that offends you, again, there's nothing I can do about that. There truly isn't. But again, it's the truth frequency. I'm just being honest. Or would you rather me lie to you and say that I'm absolutely petrified? I don't think I know how we're going to go on beyond 5G. 6G will be here before we know it. 7G, 8G. And ZX, one of our people on Discord, was saying, 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G. All of them have had the capability or the potential to cause ill health problems, cancer, etc. So if you're this scared about 5G, then you should have been scared about all of the rest of them all along. So let's get into the router part of all of this, because again, sitting right here in front of me, I can touch it with my finger, is a router that's on 5G. Now, is this the same as the 5G cellular technology that is going in around most of the cities around the world today, especially if you're living in a smart city like this? Well, let's take a look at it. All we can do is go to one of the articles I found that was dealing with this. There's obviously people who have been looking for answers on this, and it's been addressed. So we come over here, and this is a website called Talking Points, and I haven't been paid by Talking Points. I haven't been compromised by them. All I'm going to do is read out their information here, and then at the end of it, we'll try and make sense of whether or not we're dealing with the same thing, the same potential dangers as are talked about when it comes to 5G. So it says, are you confused about the difference between 5G or Wi-Fi, as in your router, and 5G for cellular? They have the same name and share some of the same technology, so it's perfectly understandable. So Wi-Fi was originally on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency, the very same frequency as your microwave oven. But with 802.11 AC, and that's basically like the standards, it also could use the 5 gigahertz frequency. Now, this 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi offered dramatically faster speeds, but at a much shorter range. Now, most Wi-Fi can travel about 50 to 75 feet in a home, or about 150 feet in open air. But 5G Wi-Fi is 10 to 20 times faster, but can only travel about 25 to 50 feet indoors. Faster, but closer. So cellular labels its generations with G numbers. The US is largely on 4G. Some of the LTE is really 4G minus, and some 4G is really advanced 4G, or what I call 4G plus. Now, the next cellular generation will be called 5G, as we know, which is not to be confused with AT&T's not 5G, called 5GE, or Wi-Fi 5G. Now, here's where it gets really confusing, okay? And I'll be as confused as all of you. Cellular 5G can be implemented on the 5 gigahertz spectrum, which is similar to the Wi-Fi 5G 802.11 AC. Now, just like Wi-Fi 5G cellular, just like Wi-Fi 5G, this is really confusing, all these 5s and Gs and cellulars and hertz. My head's going to be pickled by the end of this segment. So, just like Wi-Fi 5G, cellular 5G is much faster, but also has a very short range. So, Wi-Fi 5G and cellular 5G both share the faster but closer rule. But the technology and the compatibility between Wi-Fi 5G and cellular 5G, or 5 gigahertz, are 100% different. Okay? They cannot intercommunicate. They don't use the same radios or chipsets, and they aren't interoperable at any level or in any way. It's confusing and unfortunate that they happen to both use 5G name, and coincidentally both operate in the 5 gigahertz frequency. There's a wonderful chart which shows this is one commonality: faster, worse coverage. You can see that the frequency increases, coverage gets worse. The pink area, right, we don't need to do that because it's a graph that people on the radio can't look at. Let's just go back to, it says here, the other thing to pick out. is that the 600 megahertz in building coverage is vastly superior to the more common 1 and 2 gigahertz frequencies most 3G and 4G networks are built on. Now, T-Mobile has been buying and deploying 600 megahertz left and right because they know it's best way to coverage everywhere, both inside buildings and throughout vast swathes of open land. Now, where cellular 5G naming gets so confusing is that it's widely associated with frequencies above 2.1 gigahertz, and it has been billed as faster with promos touting gigabit speeds. Now, the public has been advertised into thinking that cellular 5G is all about speed. Now, this is true then that cellular 5G unblocks higher frequencies, which can yield high speeds at very close differences. But cellular 5G is much more about managing spectrum efficiency. One of the most important cellular 5G features is the ability to have overlapping cells. A carrier would have a 600 megahertz cell that provides far and everywhere coverage in a large area up to 30-mile radius. Then they would deploy 850 megahertz, 950 megahertz, and 2100 megahertz to offload the 600 megahertz cell. Now, finally, higher frequencies such as 5G would be deployed in stadiums and concert venues where there are a lot of people very close to the tower. Users would be routed to the highest frequency that provides acceptable service. Thus, 600 megahertz can be used to fill the gaps, and 5 gigahertz can be used to fill in the gasps with higher speeds and bandwidth. So here's the takeaway points, okay? I know that's really confusing because I'm confused right now. So here's the takeaway points from the difference. Cellular 5G is completely different from Wi-Fi 5G. Both of them can operate on the 5 gigahertz frequency, but they are not compatible. Both of them have exceedingly short range, but are very fast if you can get the signal. And both of them have troubles penetrating walls, and most cellular 5G frequencies, higher frequencies, cannot even penetrate a piece of glass. 95% of cellular 5G frequencies are up to 100 times worse at penetrating walls, glass, and building. But cellular 5G also allows the use of 600 megahertz frequency, which is not widely publicized, and which will provide coverage everywhere service. But without the 5G protocol, it doesn't effectively work with today's frequencies, so it must be deployed as islands of extended coverage. Let me repeat, cellular 5G's hidden gem is that it allows the 600 megahertz frequency to be used as an overlay cell on top of 3G and 4G frequencies. So it says the 5Gs. Wi-Fi 5G is 5 gigahertz. Cellular 5G is a protocol that unlocks more frequencies a carrier may own, and cellular 5 gigahertz and any frequencies above the 2100 megahertz or 2.1 gigahertz provides faster speeds but shorter range. So from that, what I get is that your Wi-Fi in your home and your router is working at 5 gigahertz. The cellular 5G can work at 5 gigahertz, however, it takes advantage of a far bigger range of frequencies. So the takeaway point of that is, and here it is, the confusion again, if that 5 gigahertz frequency is very, very dangerous, then maybe we have a problem. And if it's not as dangerous as we've been told, then maybe we don't. I know a lot of people in the UK. We had Alan phoning up yesterday as well. We've had many people phoning up, or not many people phoning up, let me correct that. I know many people who have 5G routers in their homes already and have done so for a number of years now. Now, I still don't know whether we should be just as worried about our router as we are about 5G, or if we shouldn't be worried about any of it. I just don't know. We'll be back after these messages. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Second part of tonight's Kev Baker Show right here on Truth Frequency Radio Network. Truth Frequency Radio Network. Yes, www.tfrlive.com. So then, let's move on to other news that we've got for today. And listen, if you love 5G, love it. If you hate 5G, hate it. If you're undecided like me, be undecided like me and keep looking for answers, keep looking for more information. Aside from that, there's not much else I can say about it, folks. However, I found some really good news today. And this here, it kind of makes me a little bit sick, right? Just a big bit. But YouTube's highest paid or highest earners list is out. And this just blew me away, folks. It truly blew me away. Check this one out. We've got YouTube's highest paid star is an 8-year-old boy who earned 19.8 million in a year. So yeah, I didn't even have any idea about this young YouTuber. Says an 8-year-old boy from Texas has topped a Forbes rich list of the highest paid YouTube stars, earning an estimated 19.8 million pound. A whopping $26 million. The American Business Magazine looked at how much money the so-called influencers made from the video sharing platform in the year to June 2019. Listen, I think this is absolutely fantastic. I really do. And hats off to these people who have reached the pinnacle, reached the summit on YouTube. As somebody who's been doing YouTube for years, I can only take my hat off and doff my cap to these people who have reached these dizzy heights, honestly. So it says Ryan Kaji, I think that's how you pronounce it, who has almost 22 million subscribers, came first in the list for the second year in a row, with his earnings reportedly rising from $22 million in the past 12 months. Now, he started out on his channel when he was just 3 years old. A 3-year-old YouTuber? Dang. Reviewing toys, and now does science experiments for his legions of fans. Now, Forbes says that the youngster has also branched out beyond YouTube with a line of more than 100 toys and clothing items, which is also, and he also has a show on Nickelodeon and a deal with US television network Hulu. Also making the coveted top 10 is Dude Perfect. Never heard of this before. A group of 5 friends in their 30s who play sports, perform stunts, and break Guinness World Records. And they came in second, earning 15.2 million. Now, the list is down here. And of course, PewDiePie, he's in there. But we had number 1, and see how many of these you know, okay? I only know a few of them. Is Ryan Kaji, that was the young boy we were talking about. Number 2, Dude Perfect, what we were talking about there, the Guinness Book of Record ones. But then number 3, Nastia, or Nastaya, never heard of that one. They made $18 million. I'm sure they're not bothered that I've never heard of them. Rhett and Link, $17.5 million. Jeffree Star, Preston Arsement. Hey, PewDiePie, Markiplier. I watch Markiplier. I've seen some of his videos. I thank Joe Joseph for putting me down that rabbit hole. PewDiePie, obviously I watch him. Daniel Middleton, not sure who that is. And Evan Fong. Yes, so there's your top YouTubers, folks. That's what we're aiming for. But this kid here, I would argue that due to the new advertising COPPA rules that exist about advertising on children's videos, etc., this big thing that's doing the rounds right now, everyone kind of talking about it. One of our previous guests that we've had on the show, Ian Corzine, the social media lawyer, he's been doing a lot of great work around COPPA. But basically, you'll never get another 3-year-old YouTuber doing what this kid's done. It just can't happen because of this COPPA ruling, advertising on videos aimed at youngsters, it's now a no-no. So luckily this dude, he's obviously got good business people behind them, his parents, whoever it is, I don't know. But they've branched out. So yeah, there's longevity for him. But for younger people coming up the ranks on YouTube now, it's going to be a lot harder for them to get the kind of success that the likes of this young kid had. And my hat is off to him. If you crack YouTube and you make that Uber level, hats off. total hats off, total respect. And even if I don't agree with the content or it's not my thing, I can only take my hat off to these people. Yes, indeed. Wouldn't that be nice for Christmas, though, knowing you'd earned 22 million? Dang, dude. So then, let's get into some other crazy news that I found today. It's kind of random. It's no big kind of stream of stories that lead to a big aha moment. I'm telling you that right off the back. So if you're still here listening to me, and granted, I know I've lost so many listeners, so many subscribers, all because I was honest. So if you're still here, thank you so much. And check this out because this made me laugh today. You know, the US government, it makes the odd boo boo here and there, right? But never one, in my mind, quite as funny as this one. Check it out. The US government has just listed the fictional nation of Wakanda. Yes, Wakanda as a trade partner. Now, anyone who's thinking Wakanda, but Kev, that's in a movie. Yeah, exactly. It is. The US Department of Agriculture listed Wakanda as a free trade partner, despite it being a fictional country. The USDA spokesperson for the Kingdom of Wakanda was added to the list by accident during a staff test, and the department's online tariff tracker hosted a detailed list of goods the two nations apparently traded, including ducks, donkeys, and dairy cows. Dairy cows? Dairy cows, maybe. So, in the Marvel universe, Wakanda is the fictional East African home of the superhero Black Panther. And the fictional country was removed soon from the list after US media first queried it, prompting jokes that the countries had started a trade war. Yes, indeed. They say it was a mistake, but it wouldn't surprise me if one of those politicians actually thought Wakanda was a real place. Just saying, just saying. So anyway, that was just a wee funny one. And now we're going to move on to one that we've been talking about for some time here on the show, and other people have been talking about as well. And it's the North Pole. So if we're now living in a world where Wakanda is a real country, one has to wonder, where's the North Pole now? I'm only joking, folks. Wakanda isn't a real country, and if we ever wake up one morning and Wakanda is a real country, you know that whole Mandela effect. It needs renamed. It's going to have to be the Wakanda effect. That would be the ultimate Mandela effect, right? If you woke up one day and they changed the name of what it was from Mandela effect to Wakanda effect, and everyone thought you were daft because it was called Mandela. I don't know. I'm just rabbiting on. Let's get into the North Pole news. So the Earth's magnetic north is racing towards Siberia at the fastest pace in 400 years, which is perplexing scientists. Now, this really interests me. It really does, because ever since I started listening to other shows, there have been researchers and people appearing as guests, and this has come up in conversation a lot. And the North Pole does wander, but like we're hearing here, it's speeding up big time. So it says, while the Earth's geographic poles remain constant, their magnetic counterparts are free to roam around. However, scientists are baffled with that over magnetic north's current shift towards Siberia at an extraordinary pace. The point which guides the N on every compass moves around all the time at an average speed of 55 kilometres per year, though recent data suggests it may have slowed to a cruising speed of 40 annually. Magnetic north is never entirely stationary, given that the molten iron core of the Earth shifts around constantly. However, even with the slowdown, it's the pace, not the movement, that's remarkable. Quote, the movement since the 1990s is much faster than at any time for the last 4 centuries. And that comes from geomagnetic specialist Karen Began from the British Geological Survey, BGS, not to be mistaken with USGS. So, quote, we really don't know much about the changes in the core that's driving it. And the World Magnetic Model tracks the position of the magnetic pole and updates it roughly every 5 years. It is maintained jointly by the US National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the British Geological Survey using satellites and 160 land based observatories. Now, I find that quite interesting because up here it says we really don't know much about the changes in the core that's driving all of this. And isn't that really quite an interesting kind of fact that we probably know more about the surface of other planets in our own solar system than we actually know about the detailed makeup of what's at the center of our own planet? And I get it, folks. I get it. How do you get to the center of the planet to see what it really looks like? Well, obviously, Mission Impossible there, right? But it is hard to figure out. It's hard to really predict where this is going if we've got no idea what changes are happening in the core itself. And then I have to throw in something here, the whole kind of strangelet scenario that was put forward when we were talking about CERN and things like that. Say one of these things has escaped or whatever. I mean, what effect would that have on the core? And then how would that translate into, say, the magnetic poles? I don't know. Quite interesting. I'm not saying there is a strangelet down there, folks. Please don't say that. Not that I know of, anyway. Sorry, people hate me for saying there is, or people hate me for saying there isn't. You can't keep all of the people happy all of the time. Rule number one in podcasting, you have to accept it. You just ain't going to keep all of the people happy all the time. So, quote, since it's the first formal discovery in 1831, the North Magnetic Pole has travelled around 1,400 miles. The NOAA National Centres for Environmental Information explains on its website. Now, the magnetic poles actually flip entirely every few hundreds of thousands of years when they shift far enough out of position. Now, the last reversal occurred some 770,000 years ago, and it took 22,000 years to complete. So, this is a pretty slow process, folks. And even if they crack longevity, life, they can prolong life long into the future like they're doing with biology now. A hazard, I guess, to say that probably none of us will be around to see the completion of this geomagnetic flip. But we do not currently know when this will happen next. Doesn't it sound like we're already in the middle of one if it's going at this fast pace year after year? I don't know. Again, I'm definitely not a geologist, so I couldn't comment there. But it will have dramatic consequences for humanity when it does, as it will impact the world magnetic model, which maps the magnetic field upon the GPS mapping and the navigation services depend, as well as major strategic infrastructure, both civilian and military. Now, we must not mistake this magnetic polar reversal, polar wandering, for a full kind of polar shift, i.e., a crustal event. Now, a crustal event would be absolutely devastating. There would be earthquakes, there would be tsunamis, and I would hazard a guess that probably things wouldn't be too conducive to life for a long time if something on that scale happened. So please don't mistake the wandering North Pole with some dramatic crustal shift that will occur as well. And again, perhaps, maybe these are things that we just don't know enough about. And when this reversal does happen, who knows? Who knows, folks? So I'll let you check into that one more. Another one I found today over on RT, it's something that we've spoke about a lot on the show here, and it's CRISPR Cas9. You see, I told you there was no structure to today's show. I was meant to have Brendan Drackler joining me today. Unfortunately, with the holidays and everything else, that hasn't been able to happen. So I just kind of went cruising through all the news, picked out a few stories, and the next one is CRISPR. And this is quite important because there's a lot of talk about CRISPR right now. And it says here, increased mortality. First generation CRISPR babies will likely die young, scientists warn. So this is where you get into the realms of designer babies and all of that stuff that we've talked about before, but also, hereditary diseases, things like that, where they could basically take the DNA when they're making their for an IVF patient, this would be, and they'd be able to do X, Y, and Z, whatever they want to do, copy and paste, cut bits out, damaged bits of DNA, and make it right so that whatever it is that they're trying to avoid doesn't happen when the baby comes to term. But now we're finding, or at least it sounds like, that this might have potential dangers. So let's take a look at it, okay? It's now 6 months since the world's first gene edited babies were born in China. But researchers in the US warn that though the twin girls may be more resistant to HIV, they also have significantly increased mortality. Now, geneticist He Jiankui, dubbed the Chinese Frankenstein, shocked the world in November 2018 when he announced that he had created the first gene-edited babies. Oh, there's a super chat coming in.
Not going anywhere, Kev, it's all good.
Oh, thank you, Queen. Trust me, I could do with feeling a little bit of that love today. Dang. If I had a bunker, I would have been in it today. Deary me. I wish I could show you some of the abuse I took. I wish I could, but I can't. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. I'm sure people would be really proud to see their emails and things read out. I reckon they'd probably be a bit embarrassed, but never mind. That's another story. He and his team edited the gene CCR5 from 2 twin babies. A third gene-edited child is due to be born this summer, and this is in a bid to make them immune from HIV. However, it turns out that people with the variant of the genome that he and his team gave the children are 21% more likely to die younger, according to the researchers from UC Berkeley. Now, having searched through a vast repository of human subject DNA from some 400,000 people, the Berkeley scientists found that CCR5 is somewhat of a double-edged sword. While it might grant the children a heightened immunity from the HIV virus, it leaves them more susceptible to dangerous strains of the flu and the West Nile virus. What we found is that they had significantly increased mortality, and that comes from the lead researcher, Rasmus Nielsen. Now, think about when myself and Scott have talked about this in the past. We've talked about the whole Cas9, CRISPR, and we compared it to basically being like hacking a computer code, right? Because your DNA, it's a code. It's a code of 4 different nucleotides. You've got A, T, C, and G, and I can't remember the names of the amino acids off the top of my head. But like a computer has ones and zeros, you've got this quaternary kind of code that makes up our DNA code. Now, if you go under the hood or into the kernel on Windows or start playing about with the actual the system code that runs everything on a computer, sure, you can tweak some things. It'll speed it up. It'll make it a little bit faster, what you were trying to do. But what you tend to find is there's a compromise. There's a trade-off. Because as you tweak and improve one thing, that can have a cascading effect that maybe you weren't aware of. It has a domino knock-on effect. And this one test that we've had with CRISPR so far with the Chinese experiment, and who honestly knows what they're doing that they haven't told us about, folks? This is China we're talking about here. The fact that we were ever told about this in the first place surprises me. But this one here, our first go at bringing embryos that have had CRISPR technology used in them, for whatever reason, in this case, to make them more resistant to HIV, it can have a knock-on effect. So if we're seeing that in the first trial, the first time they try this, they're already seeing statistically... Thank you, Joker Smiles, and I'll replay all the super chats at the break as well, just so that so I can thank you personally. Thank you. Yeah, like I was saying, so our first try at hacking the code of an embryo to make it more resistant to one thing or another. Well, now we're finding that's left this instance a 21% more likely. It says here, breaking the unfortunate news that the twin girls are now 20% less likely to live to the age of 76 as a result of CRISPR editing the way they were subjected to. All right. The CRISPR editing that they were subjected to. I can't read anymore. I'm as well just hanging up my microphone tonight, folks, and let this be the last KBS ever. I'm only joking. That's never happening. So it says here the scientific community at large was outraged when reports first appeared of he's human. It's always weird reading that guy's name because his name is literally he. He's human experiments, and it appears that indignation has been vindicated. Now, in addition, according to the data he himself presented last year, following his bombshell announcement, he didn't even manage to edit the specific gene intended, further emphasizing the risk inherent to playing God with our DNA. The changes made could last for generations, further highlighting the dramatic consequences of failure and the extremely tight margins for error. So just think about that. If they were to start editing and they did get something wrong, it might not even really show itself in the generation that has been tweaked. It may be the generations to come from that person. Maybe their child is affected in some way. Maybe the grandchildren. And maybe to the point where it's irreversible. You see, I really don't think playing about with genes and rewriting the code when it comes to the DNA, this is really risky stuff, especially when we really have so little knowledge as to what knock-on effects it can have. Now, we're told there's only been one test where embryos that have been subjected to CRISPR technology have been brought to term. I would imagine there's a heck of a lot more that we haven't been told about. And I'm not just talking about China. It could be over here in the UK. It could be anywhere, folks. This is cutting edge science, and anywhere where they're trying to push the boundaries, they'll be trying this. Now, is it good? Is it bad? I will let you decide that. I have my own opinion on it. I think it's quite dodgy. But at the same time, if they could find a way of safely, safely taking away diseases that may have left somebody with a quality of life lesser than that they have now after being CRISPR'd safely, then that would be a good thing. But how can you guarantee that safety? And how can you guarantee that maybe 2-3 generations down the line, what happened in that genetic code doesn't start reappearing somewhere else having tweaked something else, if that makes sense? So we're going to be back after the break. Hour number 2 is almost upon us. I've got a little story about J.K. Rowling after the break. Then we'll open up the phones. If nobody phones in, I've got some Russian woo. I've got the Russian Roswell that we can get into to whet your appetite. And if you do want to phone up after the break, all you have to do is phone the following numbers. If you're in the US, it's 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. If you're in the UK, it's 203-393-2871. That's 203-393-2871. You can phone up about absolutely anything. If you're going to phone up to abuse me, because I'm not sure about 5G and I'm not that scared of it right now, I will let you abuse me. Just don't swear. I won't hang up on you. You can have your say, the same as I've had my say. Track on. But keep it clean. Don't swear. And I'm happy to bring you on to present your information so that the audience can then take that information, add it to mine, add it to everything else, and you see how people then start to form their own ideas? That's what we're all about here. Maybe you can change my mind. Maybe you've got the smoking gun. Join me after the break. Don't go anywhere.
I don't know what all the conflict is about. Grab my things. It's time to go now. I don't think.
Hey, there we go, folks. So I'm just going to take a quick look at the super chats we had coming in there. I want to thank Queen Goddess and Joker Smiles. Yes, I've had a heavy day in the trenches, folks. Oh boy. Eh? I'm like, it's like throwing a wolf into the hen house. That show last night, it truly was. Boy, did it shake the hens up. But I want to just replay this one.
Not going anywhere, Kev, it's all good.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you, Queen. And we had another one from Joker Smiles. And I will be back after I get a little drink and we'll have the phones opened. And yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. We've got a Roswell story. I've got J.K. Rowling. She's fallen victim to her own outrage cancel mob that she helped to actually bring into being. Yes, we'll get into more of that in a minute. I'll just going to play some groovy tunes and I will be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our number 2 on today's Kev Baker Show, right here on TFRlive.com. Remember to tell everyone about Truth Frequency Radio. We've got our own chat room over there as well. We're just hanging out over there. We've got Rito has turned up in there. We've got Rebecca as well. Not seen Rebecca for a while. Yeah, please, please, please head on over to tfrlive.com/chat. And coming up after today's show on TFR, it'll be the Freedom Link with Joe Joseph. So don't go anywhere, folks. Lots to come. And of course, tomorrow night, I will be shifting gears, changing heads, and putting on my Freaky Friday head. Yes, Dave Baker will be back tomorrow. Dave Baker still has lots of fans. He's still loved. He doesn't like 5G. So yeah, Dave Baker will be back for Freaky Friday tomorrow. So yeah, myself, Scotty, and Joe, we will be locked, loaded, and ready to take to the airwaves tomorrow night. Midnight in the UK, 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and that is 4 p.m. on the West Coast, right here, tfrlive.com. So then, today, I had the weirdest situation ever. I had to read a tweet and headlines several times to make sure I wasn't going mad. Because J.K. Rowling, we all know J.K. Rowling, right? If you're of a certain age, you probably grew up reading most of her books. The whole Harry Potter thing going on and everything else. And I'm not going to get into the fact that she probably stole that book. But J.K. Rowling is somebody who I have come to despise. I have come to absolutely... she makes my skin crawl. Until today. But it was hilarious what happened. Because I don't know if you're aware of this story that's been doing the rounds and is proving very, very, not controversial, but very, very, well, maybe controversial. It's a landmark ruling that's been made in the UK, okay? And what it says here is, I'll just pull this up, and I'll be opening the phones after I've done this story. Don't panic about that. It says, judge rules against a researcher who lost her job over transgender tweets. Now, it goes on to say a researcher who lost her job at a think tank after tweeting that transgender women cannot change their biological sex has lost a test case because her opinions were deemed absolutist. In a keenly anticipated judgment that will stir up fresh debate over transgender issues, Judge James Taylor, an employment judge, ruled that Maya Forstater's views, quote, did not have the protected characteristic of philosophical belief. Forstater, 45, a tax expert, was a visiting fellow at the Centre for Global Development, an international think tank that campaigns against poverty and inequality. Now, her contract at the charitable organisation, which is based in Washington and London, was not renewed in March after a dispute over publicising her views on social media. She was accused of using offensive and exclusionary language in tweets opposing government proposals to reform the Gender Recognition Act to allow people to self-identify as the opposite sex. The Central London Employment Tribunal convened a preliminary hearing over the issue of whether her tweets, such as men, and this is a quote from her tweet, okay, men cannot change into women, should be protected under the 2010 Equality Act. Now, she funded her legal challenge through Crowd Justice website. So Forstater has been supported by Index on Censorship. Its chief executive, Jodie Ginsberg, has said previously, from what I have read of Forstater's writing, I cannot see that Maya has done anything wrong other than express an opinion that many feminists share, that there should be a public and open debate about the distinction between sex and gender. Now, I've spoke about this before on the show, some of these topics, and I have compared this to having to suspend all disbelief and basically accept and embrace insanity. Because whatever somebody identifies as, have at it. Have at it. Crack on. Fair play to you. But at no time Just because you identify as something, does that mean you're the biological equivalent? Biology is biology. Sex is sex. What you identify as a gender, that is entirely up to you. But we're now getting to the point where life, biology, it's been denied. In fact, it's been altered so that we can pander to people who get outraged over old dinosaurs like me who still think that a man's a man and a woman's a woman. Now, what you can go on to identify as, like I say, have at it. But you'll never see any man that identifies as a woman carrying a baby for 9 months. You will never see any man who has identified as a woman having a period. And on the flip side of that, you will never see any woman who identifies as a man. How will we put it? What does a man do that a woman doesn't? Probably nothing I can say on air. Okay? But J.K. Rowling, she came out in support of this woman. She came out and basically supported Maya, get her name right here, Maya Forstater. And what J.K. Rowling did is cause absolute madness and mayhem to break out on Twitter and in the UK media. Because this might seem like much to do about nothing. However, Sky News, they sent me a breaking news alert to tell me this. If it'll load up, we will see. Hopefully it'll load up now. Dang, please load up. J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter author, backs a woman sacked over transgender comments. However, she has now fallen victim to the outrage cancel culture brigade. Yes, and I find this funny because J.K. Rowling was one of these big celebrities that was often taken to Twitter to virtue signal, to say all the right things, and in no small part really helped to weaponize the people who are now coming after her, because they are now calling her a transphobe. Yes, folks, that's what they're calling her. And we'll take a look at the tweet in a moment as well. It says J.K. Rowling has divided opinion on Twitter after she spoke out in support of a woman sacked for tweeting that transgender people cannot change their biological sex. Now, Maya Forstater lost her job as a tax expert at the Centre for Global Development, an international think tank that campaigns against poverty and inequality. Now, she was accused of publishing offensive tweets questioning government proposals to allow people to self-identify their own gender. Now, Ms. Forstater took her case to an employment tribunal on the grounds that her dismissal constituted discrimination against her beliefs. But on Tuesday, a judge commented, and we've been over that. Hopefully we'll get down to the tweet here. This is the tweet that J.K. Rowling put out. Dress however you please. Call yourself whatever you like. Sleep with any consenting adult who'll have you. Live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real? Hashtag I stand with Maya. This is not a drill. So what happened then is that Rowling soon began trending, with some users claiming she was a transphobe, and the phrase J.K. Rowling is a TERF. Now, I'd never heard this name before. I'd never heard this acronym, TERF, and it refers to a term, trans exclusionary radical feminist, also trended on the social media platform. And a TERF is often used to describe feminists who express ideas that other feminists consider to be transphobic, including the belief that trans women are not women. LGBT advocacy group, the Human Rights Campaign, responded to Rowling on Twitter, posting, "Trans women are women. Trans men are men. Non-binary people are non-binary people." CC J.K. Rowling. So celebrities have also weighed into the debate, with Grey's Anatomy actress Sarah Ramirez saying she wholeheartedly disagrees with Rowling. And she said, I stand with intersectional feminist humans who recognise that trans women are real women and against bigots like yourself. Bigotry masquerading as feminism is anything but. Your internalized distortions are helping me to continue dismantling mine. Thanks. Now, surely, I thought, and I'm not a woman, but I would have thought that the feminists out there, I would have thought they probably would be up in arms with like people that used to be men, part of the patriarchy, then donning clothes and becoming women. I thought that probably wouldn't be approved of by the feminists at all, but how wrong I could have been. And I just bring this up not to have a go at trans people. Like I've said many times in the past, okay? People, you do what you want. Do what you want, but don't expect me to, don't put the onus on me and things to call you by the right pronoun, especially if you're somebody kicking about with a beard and hairy hands. I don't know that you identify as they or she. There should be no obligation upon me to know what people identify as. And if I get it wrong, it's not because I'm being cruel. It's not because I wish you any harm. It's because when I look at something, if I see it looks like a dude, I'm going to call it a dude. And if I see it looks female, I'm going to call it female. And if I'm not quite sure, well, I'm not quite sure. So it's just craziness. And today's spat, today's online shenanigans with J.K. Rowling and the same people who used to absolutely love every single word that she said because it conformed to this new world that we're living in. To see her then being attacked by the very same people that she weaponized or helped to weaponize, I just found it quite ironic. Just quite ironic. I didn't think I'd ever find myself agreeing with J.K. Rowling, ever. But today's tweet, I find myself agreeing. And again, let me be abundantly as clear as I can. Not having a go at anybody who identifies as anything they want to. But in the end of the day, it's you identifying as that. We shouldn't have to change the way the whole world works and change how biology works just to satisfy maybe what, less than 1% of a population. I haven't checked the actual statistics, but we're going to have to change the other 99% of people have to adopt this new way of thinking, despite the fact at times it goes against reality. Well, that's just silly. That's just silly. And I'll respect your decision to identify as whatever you want to identify as. Some days I wake up, I'm a Wookiee. Some days I wake up, I'm a Yoda. Other days I'm Dave. I get it. Okay, identify as whatever you want to be. But at the same time, don't think that everyone else should change the way the world works just to cater for such a small minority of people. And that's not to put them down in any way, shape, or form. So, with that out of the way, I'm going to put the phone lines on. You can phone me up about anything at all, okay? So I'll go over here. I've got the phone numbers here somewhere. I'll bring them up. There we go. We'll get rid of that. There they are, there in the vault. So if you want to call in and speak to yours truly, all you have to do is dial the following number. It's, if you're in the US, it's 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. And if you're in the UK, it's 0044 203 393 2871. That's 0044 203 393 2871. And before I forget, like I always do, I'll add in the phone line because No point opening the phones if I don't have the phones on my Skype call, okay? So bear with me 2 seconds, folks. Only takes a couple of presses of a button, and there we are. The phones are now on. So, like I say, if you want to phone in, you can call the following numbers. If you're in the US, it's 213 233 3998. That's 213 233 3998. And if you're over here in the UK, that's 0044 203 393 2871. That's 203 393 2871. And while we're waiting for that first phone call to come along, let's go and take a little look at some woo. As I said, tonight it'll be news, some woo, and some listeners' calls. So let's get into it. I go to my favourite woo website and my favourite woo writer, Nick Redfern. It's a Mysterious Universe, and he says, quote, "The Russian Roswell UFO story. So where did it come from?" And this was published today. It says, over the years, Annie Jacobsen has written a number of good books on the matter of government secrecy. They include Surprise, Kill, Vanish, The Pentagon's Brain, Phenomena, Operation Paperclip, and Area 51. It's the latter title that we need to focus our attentions on today, because Jacobsen's Area 51 is a solid, insightful, and illuminating study of the history and secrecy. Oh, sorry, I thought it were a caller there. History and secret world of Nevada's infamous impenetrable base. Now, when Area 51 was published, what really caught the attention of both the UFO research community and the nation's media were the words that Jacobsen had received on Roswell, the world's most famous or infamous UFO case. It all came from a solitary whistleblower. In the pages of her book, Jacobsen's source for the Roswell story is not identified, although he does appear by his real name in other sections of the book that specifically don't deal with Roswell. We know, though, thanks to the digging of UFO researcher Tony Bragalia, that the man in question was one Alfred O'Donnell, who died on April the 9th, 2015, then in his 90s. Now, Bragalia spoke with O'Donnell, and Bragalia said of this, quote, "The author has identified and located Annie Jacobsen's anonymous source. I've also decided, after much consideration, to out him. In this article, I will openly name him, and I have contacted him very recently. He reluctantly spoke with me for some time. I believe that the source was indeed told this bizarre story by officials." And Bragalia then goes on to detail O'Donnell's working career. Also, Bragalia provides us with an interview that he conducted with O'Donnell on the afternoon of May 26th, 2011. And according to the data, Alfred O'Donnell claimed he was exposed during his time working for EG&G. What came down outside of Roswell, New Mexico in 1947 was not a UFO from another world, nor was it a weather balloon or a mogul balloon, and apparently there was not even a single crash test dummy anywhere in sight. O'Donnell made the controversial and sensational claim that the craft and the crew originated in the Soviet Union. So was Roswell a Russian inside job? Let's read on. But we're not talking about your average aircraft. The same goes for those who were allegedly aboard it too. O'Donnell said that Joseph Stalin, the General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union from 1922 to 1952, and Premier from 1941 to 1953, was the driving force behind what was supposedly a diabolical, manipulative plot designed to make the US government and the people of the United States think that an alien invasion was underway. The purpose? To plunge America into a state of overwhelming terror. Now, O'Donnell said that Stalin had recently enlisted into the grim plot of Dr. Joseph Mengele. He was one of the vilest, evil, and most deranged and dangerous figures of the 20th century. Mengele spent a great deal of his time at Auschwitz, a complex comprised. I've got compromised on the brain today. I don't know what it is. A complex comprised of more than 40 camps in then occupied Poland. We've got a caller on the line. Absolutely fantastic. Here we go. Hopefully, I'm not going to get abused, but we're going to Ohio, area code 330. Welcome to the Kev Baker Show.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Can you hear? I'm all right. I've been sick with a horrible flu, but other than that, this show is fantastic. And Kevin, don't apologize for being you ever, because you just are on the same journey we're all struggling on. I'm 64, and what I've had to adjust to and own and open my eyes to has been a whirlwind for me. First, all the technological stuff. And then my eyes first got open maybe 6-7 years ago with 9/11. And from there, I haven't ever stopped. I can't stop researching, reading, and everything I ever really believed in as far as my country, I don't believe it anymore. I can't. And I think why everyone is so sensitive is we're all just tired of being jerked around.
What's your
I'm
name?
sorry. I'm just going off a
no,
little.
not at all. I forgot to ask your name when you first called in. So what's your name?
This is Connie.
Okay. Well, I'm in the same boat as you, because really that whole 9/11 thing, and the minute that started seeing through that, it wasn't the day it happened at all. It took years for me to really come to the realization that something was very wrong with the world. I'm like you, and ever since that rabbit hole opened up before me, it's just been one cascading journey through so many topics.
It really has.
Yeah, so much information. And
Challenged.
I'm like you.
Really
because
challenged my whole sense of reality. I have a totally different sense of reality. And the only thing that grounds me is knowing that God is in control. He's not in his heavens pacing going, oh, now look what they're doing. They're screwing everything up. I have to have some firm foundation, because other than my faith, there is no firm foundation anymore.
No, I don't really talk about this too much, but I'm like you. It's the one thing that can really keep us going through all of this, okay? And I just want to tell people out there, because there's going to be many people who resonate with this call. We've all been on this journey. And for me personally,
Yes.
I joined the army, and I had to swear an allegiance to the Queen. If I had known back then what I know now,
Wow.
I would never have done that. So,
Yes.
yeah, I'm like you. Everything I thought I knew, it's
Yeah.
now gone.
Wow. Well, Kev, I really respect you, and I love this chat room, and I hate online anything really, but I really love this program. It's not really a program. I hate that word even now. I just think of it as programming.
Yep.
And I don't even like to use that word anymore.
Exactly. That we should just call it the Kev Baker get together. That's programming. You're so
yeah,
right.
and I like the woo too.
Yeah, exactly. The woo brings us together. Listen, I want to thank you for calling in today. We're almost on the break now.
Thanks, Kevin.
No, thank you.
Okay, thanks all y'all in the chat room too. You guys rock. All of you all do.
Well, listen, you don't know.
And thanks.
You don't
God
know.
bless.
You don't know how much I needed to hear your call today. So thank you very, very much.
Aw, thanks. God bless and a Merry Christmas to everybody.
Same to you.
Peace on earth, goodwill to man. Bye-bye.
There we go. Wouldn't that be a good Christmas present, eh? Peace on earth. That would be absolutely fantastic. We'll come back on the other side, folks. I've got more woo and hopefully more from all of you. We've got one caller on the line. Stay on the line, Florida caller. I'll be right back.
What is it good for?
Welcome back to the final segment of today's Kev Baker Show. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today. It's been a hard day for me, seriously. I knew yesterday's show would be controversial. I just didn't think I would take quite the level of hate and abuse that I took in some mails and some corners today. And I just want to thank all of you There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with me. That's going to happen. But when it goes beyond disagreement into just madness like I've seen today, I tell you, it took me all my time to go live tonight. It really did. But now I'm reminded why I did. Because there's so many Connies out there in the world. And Connie, I want to thank you personally. Because seriously, you don't know how much that call meant to me. Might just feel like a little call to you. But you've put my mojo back. Connie has given me my mojo back. I tell you, when you do things like this and you do controversial shows and you know you're going to throw a wolf into the hen house, you get ready for it, right? But sometimes, when you see the fallout after being honest and saying you don't know and you don't know whether you should be scared or not and this kind of thing and presenting the other side of the argument, I didn't think it was going to have the fallout that it did have. And seriously, really, really hard. I was quite grateful today. I usually do a daytime stream and Scott Lopez comes on and he'll usually say, he'll usually take over the Thursday stream and I let Scotty basically bring the stories and we do it that way. And when Scott said to me today he needed to go for a sleep, he wasn't feeling too right, I tell you, I breathed a huge sigh of relief. And that's the kind of day I've had. So, Connie, thank you. And thank you to all the other people out there who are still listening right now. And like I say, it's okay to disagree with me. But I thought that's the way we rolled here. That's what made us different. We could disagree, or we could agree to disagree and move on. So moving back into the phone calls now, I'm going to Florida, area code 863. Welcome to the Kev Baker Show, and who is it that I'm talking to? Area code 863, anyone there? That's Arcadia, Florida, I think.
Kev, hello.
Hey,
Kev,
hey,
hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm so good. This is Smelly Tits, OMG.
Hey, Smelly, how you doing?
Oh, I'm smelling just a little, but I'm doing fine.
What would you
I'm
like?
so happy to be calling the man.
Oh, dude,
I'm so happy to be calling the man, the myth, the legend, Kev Baker.
But what do you want to get into today? Smelly, I always have a smile on my face when I see your name in the TFR Wookiee Cave. What's on your mind today, brother?
I wanted to tell you, Kev, don't listen to what people are saying, that it takes a big man to say what you said. Most people, even if they're wrong, they're going to say, oh, this is the way it is. They're putting their opinion on it. They may not have all the facts. I'd rather listen to somebody that I can truly trust and not tell me, something they just read online and they're not really sure about it, and then I'm repeating the same thing they are. So I respect you a lot for doing that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And that's the way I've kind of learned to operate. If I don't know something, I think it's fair. I think it's the only fair on the listeners that I tell them I don't really know. Because it might sound a bit cliche, it might sound like a tagline, I provide, you decide, but we're all on this journey together. And I wish I was an expert at anything. I really do, Smelly. But I'm not. I'm just an ordinary person. And like I said, when it came to the 5G, when I look about it and when I'm honest about it, I really don't have the kind of fear that many do out there. But that doesn't mean that it's not bad. It doesn't mean that it's good. I'm just being honest, and I'm glad you and so many people understand that.
Well, thank you. And I want to tell you, we just switched all of our routers at the place I work in town to 5G routers. And I was talking to the guy about the 5G, and he said what this is going to allow is that 5G works on a bandwidth where it can take more bandwidth. So they're saying that 5G is going to be involved in, your appliances. Everything's going to have a 5G tracker on it, eventually in time. And it's able to it's going to know, when you walk 3 feet in your kitchen that you just, did that. So I think that's what everybody's scared about. The guy told me he didn't hear anything about it frying people's brains or anything like that. So I think nobody's going to know until a couple of years from now when people start dropping dead or they're living.
Exactly.
That's the only way we're going to find out.
And, that's where my concern from 5G comes from, the surveillance aspect of it. The fact that we will be tracked everywhere we go. Somebody's kitchen, their smart fridge will be picking up on you. They'll know you're there. You basically can't escape this blanket signal. Now, like you said, I agree with you. It's going to take time, a lot of time for these things to become clear and apparent. And until then, I just think it is probably not worth worrying ourselves overly about something that we just don't know about, Smelly,
Exactly. I agree 100%. People, anything that's new, I see this with the people I work with. Anything I throw out new to them, they're scared of it.
Yeah.
This is doing this and that's doing, we don't want to deal with that. Well, once they start using it, then they find how it's going to help their life and their job performance, and then they're all for it. So, you're going to have pros and cons with anything.
Smelly, you don't know how much.
So I think you're doing a great job.
Brother, thank you for calling up today. I really appreciate all the time you put in listening to the show. And I hope you and your family have a really wonderful holiday/Christmas period.
You too, Kev. I really love your show. It gets me through the day. I'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas and a shout out to the Wookiee and Bill 13, Dorito, and all the people in the chat room. They're like family to me.
We are all family here. Thank you, brother. So that there was Florida. And, we're going to be doing a Florida Man show on Monday. So, Smelly, I hope you're here. I hope you call us up. We're going to be taking a look at some of the funnier Florida Man calls or stories that are out there. So then we're moving on. I think we had lost Smelly there. So we're moving on to a UK caller now. And it is a mobile phone that ends in the number 979. So if that's you, welcome to the Kev Baker Show.
Hi, Kev.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Hi, it's Neil Bowie. How you
Neil.
doing?
It's great to talk to you.
I'd like to say hello to you and all the Roo crew out there, and what a lovely show and family you've got.
Thank you so much, brother. And Jason was mentioning you on my show yesterday. I believe you live close to somewhere haunted, right?
Well, I live in Worcester. I was the one that told you about Meon Hill. Etc., stuff like that. I don't know where you'd like me to start, but
wherever you want to start.
Life.
Yeah, Neil, wherever you want to start. What do you want to share with us?
Right. Well, we've been on about UFOs, so we'll go with that to start with because that's my first real recollection. I think I was about 2 or 3 years old. I was born in Cheltenham, literally about half a mile max from the GCHQ, which, if people don't know, that's the headquarters of the spying agencies for England, MI6, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it was a bit like an Independence Day experience because my mum shouted to me and she said, "Oh, come and look at this, kids, come and look at this, kid," because I had 2 sisters. And we come running out and virtually the whole street. I can remember it was a working day because my dad wasn't there. And it's a beautiful blue sunny day, and sat above us was this, I couldn't tell you how many, but I'd just call it an armada of UFOs. They were like big, round, red orbs just sat there. As I say, there was so many of them. like, and everybody was just looking up, and looking up.
So this was
I remember my mum telling me.
this was a multiple witness
This is
sighting, yeah?
Yes, it would have been back in 1970 or 71, Kev.
Okay.
Back then, but I've had so many, well, all kinds of experiences throughout my life. I do believe that sort of woo follows you.
I think that as well. I do
my
think
dad
that
w-
some people seem to have almost an attractive kind of nature to the paranormal, the supernatural. Some people do seem to draw it towards them, don't they?
Definitely. I've had multiple experiences with UFOs throughout my life. From that very first one, as I say, I was about 2 or 3 at the time. I can remember I was walking, so I guess I was about 2 or 3. My dad always had an interest in the stars, always. So if there was a meteor storm or anything, he'd get us up as kids and he'd take us out to watch these meteor storms, or even just go watch satellites or whatever, Halley's Comet when it was coming over. But multiple times, and it's funny, but about 3 white orbs I've seen in. Well, the second time I can remember was my dad. He called us to the back bedroom window. He said, "Look at this," and there was these 3 white orbs in a triangular sort of triangular shape.
Yeah.
And then one would shoot off in one direction, followed by the other, followed by a really high speed. But they didn't move to the eye at great distance. I couldn't tell you how high they were, because literally they were just like white round orbs, really.
I find that a lot, Neil. It's
And
quite hard to gauge the kind of altitude that these things are at, because it's hard to find a point of reference where you can really gauge how high they are. And if you knew how high they are, you could almost take a guess at what size they might be. So I totally appreciate where you're coming from there. Where do you think these are coming from, Neil? Do you think they're otherworldly, or do you think they belong to us?
No, this is the thing. I've sort of messaged with Jace, etc., with his orbs that he's seen. I'm gonna have to dig it out somewhere. I'm a sort of shaman, and I go to a lot of historic places. In Stonehenge, I go most years for the solstice, or to some stone circle in the country. And one year we took this photo, and I've got to find it. There are literally thousands of orbs in between the people, just everywhere, different colours, etc. So I'm kind of torn that they are the world. I think they're from a different dimension. I've even had them follow my friend around the wood, my local wood. It's a very ancient wood. In fact, Oliver Cromwell was supposedly camped up there before he took on the big Battle of Worcester, the Battle of the Roses, or whatever it was. And it's got a lot of history in there. And we went for a walk one day, and we found this oak tree with literally a hole in it, and it was hollow. And my friend went and got through the hole and sat inside this oak tree. And when he got out, there was this really vibrant blue orb that came out with him, and it followed him all the way around the wood.
Now, isn't that interesting,
Literally.
especially after Jason yesterday?
And that was
Jason with his video with the
That was
blue
the
orb.
best. That was it was. This was really vibrant, like sort of disco-y light blue.
Got
It
you.
was so bright. But it was probably size of a tennis ball at max. And it stayed about 5 yards away from him, but always just behind his head to the right. And we couldn't believe it. It was just absolutely gobsmacked. But as I say, I've had loads and loads and loads of UFO, whatever experiences. I do think some are spirits, to be honest. I do think some orbs are spiritually linked.
I think I would
and
have to.
some,
I think I would have to agree with you there, Neil. Now, what I'm going to do, Neil, is the next time we've got a free night with no guests, I'm going to get you to call in for the last segment of the show because we've got other callers on the line just now. But I would really love you to come on and share some more of your stories because I remember seeing some of your chats
Yeah.
as well when we've been digging into the woo. So I'm going to let you go just now, Neil. But please, please, the next time I open up the phones and you're here, I will make sure I give you a full segment so you can sit and we can talk about all the stuff you've gone through, okay?
oh, bless you, Kev. You do a great job. It's taken a lot for me to call you.
I know it
I'm
has,
quite
brother.
nervous.
I know it has, brother. And that's why I truly, truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I know it takes a lot for people to call into shows. So, Neil, I'm going to let you go just now. I'll let you get back to listening.
Yeah, you're a good one, Kev. Yeah.
So are you, brother.
Can I just take one moment to wish everybody a happy holiday and have a brilliant time, whatever they're doing in the next couple of weeks.
And the same to you, Neil. The same to you from all of us here at TFR, okay? So we're going to go now to another UK caller, and it is the last three digits is 471. So if that's you, welcome to the Kev Baker Show.
Hello, Mr. Baker. Merry Christmas.
Hey, how are you doing, Julie?
Well done. I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. How are you and your wonderful man doing? I hope you're all well. I hope you're looking forward to the holidays.
We certainly are. We certainly are. I'd like to wish everybody in the chat room and everybody listening a wonderful, wonderful holiday as well. I know it's not always PC to say Merry Christmas in this day and age.
Oh, I know
is it?
you're always going to offend somebody nowadays, aren't you? I was reading an article today, Julie, where a university professor was telling people to forget about Christmas presents. Let's save the planet and let's just cancel Christmas. So yeah, I'll be having my Christmas. And what do you want to get into today, Julie?
Well, I mean, talking about orbs, I've sent you some videos of orbs on Skype, but there was something that happened to me that I wanted to know if you or your chat room could give me the answer to.
Okay, go for it. We'll try our best.
Thanks. Once, probably about 10 years ago, when we lived at the farm, a gold light appeared in the living room. It was the size of a small ball, and basically it glowed gold and then a brilliant white, and then it extended out upwards and downwards at the same time to about 6 foot in height and about 2 foot across. I didn't have a clue what it was. I didn't know if it was spiritual. I didn't know if it was something alien. I really just did not have a clue at all. But then I actually witnessed myself sort of have an out-of-body experience, touch its feet, not that I could see any feet, and say, "Are you Jesus?"
Wow, so you had an you had an out-of-body experience while this was going on?
Yeah. I was lying on the settee, watching it happen before my very eyes, stone cold sober.
Whoa. That's weird now.
Now, Well, I spoke to a pastor about it, and he said, you've had a visitation from the devil. Now, that made it really scary. I wasn't happy about that at all. But saying that, nothing devilish went on. I told you before I'd seen a glowing light in the sky, which people reported as a UFO.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, could it be some kind of visitation? I didn't have a clue, Kev. I just wondered, has any of your listeners been through anything like that? And what do they think it was? Because I don't know.
Well, I know you've got people that can astral travel, but I don't know if that means you can actually watch yourself leaving your body or not. I'm not too sure on that. Maybe some of the listeners or somebody in the chat room might be more clear on that. But that sounds like a really, really strange incident that you were caught up in there. But I'm trying to figure out why that pastor told you that. I mean, talk about jumping to conclusions. I mean, it's a bit of a stretch to go right for the devil, right?
Well, don't forget, though, a lot of very religious people do believe that anything alien is demonic.
Yeah.
And it's not alien, it's just demonic. That's what they say.
Yeah. Depending on...
I just don't know, Kev.
Yeah, same here. Depending on your belief system, you're going to have one set of language for something that other people have, and a unique set of language for the same thing. Demons in one camp, aliens in the other. But both are describing the same things. Are they alien? Are they demon? We just don't know. What's your true thought on it, though, Julie? I mean, when you were there and you were watching this incident, you out your body, did you feel any uncomfortable sensation? Did it feel sinister?
Not at all. No, not at all. I was just watching it with fascination, but I've got to laugh really, Kev, because at the same time, at the side of it, moments after, I saw 3 hooded figures, like a monk outfit.
Yeah.
And I panicked that much. I said to Avatar, oh my goodness, I must have just had a vision of Jesus and me touching his feet, which in an Indian culture, that's a sign of respect to touch somebody holy's feet, yeah?
Okay.
And I said, I think I've had a visitation to say, you best behave yourself in life and become more pure and a better person. Not that I was that bad at all. Because there's the monk figures, and he started laughing. He said, no, I don't think that was the Grim Reaper at all.
Well, I
don't think it was that cut and dried.
No, I'm gonna have. Well, we're almost at the end, Julie, and I want to sneak one more caller in. But I would think, if you had a positive or at least not a negative feeling from that event, I would go. I would hazard a guess that it probably wasn't anything too nefarious, and it may have held some inner meaning to you. And whatever you got from it, I would just go with that, Julie. Okay.
I think as long as you've got a connection with the divine creator, and that's how you try and live your life, you'll always see the best out of things and get the best experiences. I've got Avatar here. He just wants to wish you a Merry Christmas, Kev.
No probs. Hey, Avatar.
Hello, Kev. How are you, mate?
I'm doing very well, sir. I hope you are very well as well.
Yeah. What's been happening? Who's been picking on you, son?
You just do the odd controversial show here or there, and you can't please all of the people all of the time, Avatar, so it's okay. I'm a bit battered and bruised, but I'll come back from it. Don't you worry about that. There's great people like you, Julie, and all the other listeners out there that have reminded me that, yeah, we do what we do here. Some people won't like it, some people will. But I'm going to have to move on because I want to sneak in one more caller before we go. I want everyone in the TFR family and all the chat rooms and wherever you're listening to wish Avatar and Julie a very happy holidays. There you go.
To you, mate. But you should all be more forgiving and more accepting of other people's opinions. This is where society has gone wrong, Kev.
Big time, dude. Big time. That's why we're all at each other's throats.
Compassionate. If we're more compassionate to each other, we get more done. You know what I'm saying?
I think if more people treated people the way they would like to be treated, I think we could change the world
Yeah.
overnight. I'm going to go on to the next caller now. I've got one more caller I can sneak in. It's Texas. It is area code 469. I think I can just about sneak you in before we go. Welcome to the Kev Baker Show.
Hi, this is That's Worrisome.
Hey
And
there.
I had I wanted to go back to the CRISPR and
Now we're almost running
stuff
out.
you were talking about
We're
earlier.
almost running out of time.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I will try and open up the phones on Freaky Friday tomorrow, and please call me back, okay?
Okay.
Please, please, please.
I'll
Folks,
do that.
thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
Y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Aw, thank you. You as well, okay? So, folks, that's us for another night. Wherever you are, make it TFR and dinny touch that dial. And remember to stay tuned to the #1 network, Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. We are out of there. So I'm still here on YouTube right now. I just want to thank everyone that called in today. Julie and Avatar, sorry I had to rush the end of it there. And I'm really sorry to the last caller we got on that we just didn't have time. There was also somebody from the UK on the line as well. So what I'm going to do tomorrow night, even though it's Freaky Friday, we'll open up the phones and I'll speak to the guys and we'll either open them up for an hour at the end, maybe an hour at the start or an hour in the middle. At some point though, I want to get to the 2 callers that didn't make it onto the show today as my way to apologize for running out of time and to thank you for supporting the show. So I'm going to play some tunes. I'm going to have a little drink of my juice and then I'm going to come into the the YouTube chat now. I almost said TFR chat. Force of habit. I love TFR. I really do. And yeah, what I'll do is I'll play some tunes. I'll sort my head out. I'm feeling a lot better now than I did when I started the show, put it that way. But that's thanks to all of you out there. It truly is. And Connie, you touched my heart today. You truly, truly did. It's almost as if you knew exactly what I needed to hear today. So I'm going to be back in a couple of moments and we'll chill out with a chat. And of course, I need to go and phone my mum at some point soon because we've got our nightly battle at Scrabble. And if I don't win tonight, that means she wins for the week. And I get it, she's my mum, I should be happy she's winning, but we're so competitive. I've got the competitive gene that she's got. It's terrible. Both of us hate losing. We say we don't mind, but I tell you, it's dog eat dog in the world of the Baker Scrabble Championships. It truly is. So I'll be back in just a moment, folks. Keep it real. Chill out. I'll be back. Don't worry, folks, I'll be right with you. I will be right back. There we go. There we go. We're back. Yes, indeed. I'll be here for 10 minutes or so. So I'm going to dive into the chat room. I'll see what the chat are saying. Should I go in there? Is it safe in there for a Kev Baker in the chat? I don't know. Let's have a look, shall we? Now I need to find the chat room before I look at it. Okay. Oh, whoa. Why is it going so fast? It's catching up because I wasn't looking at it. It's catching itself up. So once it catches itself up, I'll take a little trip into the chat room. Deary me, it's been going crazy tonight, right? Wow. I wish you could see how fast this is scrolling up my stream. Oh, this is insane. I think it's catching up now, folks. I think, anyway.
Never change, stay real, bro. We got your back. Praying gesture.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And I've got your back all the way, Jason. All the way. So it's finally caught up. There's Jason's super chat in the chat room now. So we've got Marty in there. We've got Lisa, ZX, Ben Mac, Pollination, Christopher, Alexander, John Nelson, Paul from Newcastle. So many people in there. Let's see what some of you are saying. Christopher, he's talking about Scrabble. He has played Scrabble since about 15 years old. Well, I ain't taking you on then, that's for sure. Tinker, thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. I was quite apprehensive coming on today. I thought the knives would be out from everyone. But no, I should have a lot more faith in the hardcore listeners to the show. I really should. Thank you so much. Mary, Marty is having to run. Marty, thank you so much for everything you do for us here at the show. Paul said I had an experience with a golden orb last year. In the middle with green letters. We are ready. You are ready. It moved like old text from left to right. Wow. Yes, shout out Ben Mac, you're right, I'm here. Android still stay real, absolutely. The Bearded Traveller. Bearded Traveller, I'm getting used to seeing that name in there. I hope you're well, brother. Marty's back now. We've got Lisa in there as well. Great to see you all. Who else is kicking about? Orbs here, search YouTube. The construction of crop circles, real video. That's I've seen that before. Chiro and Christopher Everard. He does documentaries and things. I think he was the first one that showed me that. I've also had Patty Greer onto the show. And from what I can make out, I think she was actually one of the people that were there when that was filmed. Very interesting, that whole orb and crop circle connection. Now listen, let's be real, okay? Probably half the crop circles, maybe more, are probably man-made, but it's those few that you can't explain. And it's so easy to tell the man-made ones apart from the mysterious ones, because when man does it, we trample it down to make it look like the orb, the crop circle effect. But what man does differently to the genuine crop circle is, when you look at the bend in whatever the crop is, when man does it, it snaps, breaks it. But when it's done by, for example, say the orb, okay, we'll use the orb example, what you find is that the bend in the crop, it doesn't actually damage the crop. It's like a big nodule that forms, almost like it was bent down, and with heat, I don't know what's going on there. I really wish I had more of an answer to you, or for you. It's one of the most mysterious kind of topics out there, and whether we ever get closer to the truth or not on crop circles, I don't know. Are there some kind of messages left for us, for people to decode, translate? I have no idea. I really don't. I've heard so many interesting theories over the years. I really have. Are any of them correct? I don't know. But crop circles, maybe we need to do a crop circle show soon. I haven't done a crop circle show in years. Brilliant. So what else have we got in here then? Let's have a look. Let's see. ZX81, great shout out. Thunderbolts Project, he says, worth a look. I would say the Thunderbolts Project is essential viewing for anyone who's got any interest in space, how everything works. They'll give you a completely different explanation on things like gravity. And the thing I like about the Thunderbolts Project is that in science, it's really important to be able to reproduce something to show that your theory is solid. To be able to reproduce effects in a laboratory that translate out into whatever it is that you're trying to actually get to the bottom of. And when it comes to some of the things that we observe in space, you know, the Thunderbolts Project with plasma, that's you've got liquid and you've got gas, and then you go to the plasma. You know, when you start dealing with plasma, it's amazing how many of the effects that you see in space being produced in the laboratory. Now, trying to get mainstream academia to accept that the universe is more electrical in nature than what we're led to believe, really hard. I tell you what, you go to that Thunderbolts Project and it's really hard to go up against them, because you've got really well-educated, distinguished physicists, cosmologists, astrophysicists, everything in there that are looking at this way that perhaps everything works. And of course, if you start to work on the idea that it's an electrical universe and electricity, the potential for it is all around us, you start getting back into that kind of stuff that Tesla was working with, right? And we know what happened with Tesla when he was talking about pulling atmosphere out of the air and just giving it to people wirelessly, transmitting it over the Atlantic, things like this. The big money companies, you know, the big corporations, at the time it was JP Morgan, he had all the copper mines, and when he realized all of his copper wouldn't be getting used in the transfer of that electricity, well, we all know what happened, right? We went down the Edison road, and wires and meters and everything else. And I really hope before I leave this plane that I see more acceptance and more investigation into the electric universe. Fascinating. Great comment, ZX. And I'm glad to see you didn't leave me, ZX. I know you were threatening to go on strike and leave me. I couldn't believe that came from you today. I thought you'd be the last person to be threatening to leave me. Come on. I'm only winding you up, brother, but it's good to still see you here. We've got Sam in the chat room. Their infighting is good. I must have missed the first part of that. Let's see. Let's go down, see what else we've got here. Even if 99.9% are fake, there is that small 0.1 exactly. Exactly. John Nelson says, oh, I missed it. Let's see. Where was that? Look up YouTuber The Real M Lord and God. She has a video a day ago about $5,000 to stay a week at a Scottish castle. $5,000 to stay a week at a Scottish castle. Where was she going? Skibo? I know Skibo would probably charge you something like that. That's where... Who was it that was famous, got married there, Anne? Remember? Skibo Castle. Oh, it was somebody hugely famous, remember? My mum would remember. It was a big thing in the Highlands. The Highlands came to a stop because some star was getting married up there. But $5,000? I'm sure me and Anne could make somebody up a bed for like way cheaper than that. Way 75% off. You can come and sleep on my sofa, right? I'm only joking. Neil Bowie, great call, brother. And I'm really sorry I had to let you go, okay? Because I'm very, very aware now that we've got other callers on the line. And when I first started, I was quite happy just to put my feet back and chill out and get really into it with the first caller that would come along. But that's so unfair on all the other callers. And I hope you understand why I let you go tonight, Neil. And I hope you take me up on the offer of coming on for a full segment in the near future. If you don't want to go on the main show, if you're too nervous, we can do it here on YouTube. You know, we only ever get a couple of hundred people here, and it's a couple of hundred people that really are the best of people. They might not agree with me all the time, they might not agree with what you've got to say, but they're very open-minded, and they'll certainly listen to all of your experiences, Neil. And for anyone who didn't get picked up on the calls tonight, please, please, please call back in tomorrow. Now, I'm just going to have to go and check Facebook real quickly one moment. Give me 2 seconds. I hate Facebook, but it's where I stay in touch with my mum. So she sent me a link. It might be something interesting, and I would hate to let you all go tonight if it is something that's worthy of bringing to the table. So let me just check this here. Hang on a second. It's not looking like it's anything I'll be bringing to the table. But folks, listen, I want to thank you all. It's been a hard day. And I know when I take on these controversial kind of topics or stories that I know are going to be controversial, I know it's going to have fallout. There's going to be backlash. And sometimes I'm not the best of people to deal with that. Sometimes I can be quite easy to wind up, and I'll give as good as I take. And I really don't think people expect that when they're having their go at me. Oh, the host to have a go back? Well, you know, if you're going to treat me with disrespect, then I'm afraid don't be surprised if you get a little bit back, okay? That's how it rolls, folks. I'm not here to be abused. I don't ever claim I know all the answers. It'd be ridiculous if I did. And when I don't know, I don't know. I thought that would be the best way to go, and I know that most of you out there agree with that. And you don't know how much you've all done for me today. Seriously. Might not seem like much to you, you know, just being here. Even if you don't agree with me, I'm not bothered about that. That's fine. That's not the problem. That's not the issue. It's when it gets into real nasty stuff. People questioning whether I've been compromised or not. I think if I'd been compromised, I probably would have came on here and forced it down your throat that 5G's safe. But at no time did I do that. All I'm saying is I don't know if we should be as scared as some corners of the internet are telling us to be. And if that's for you, cool. If it's not, cool. But we go on. And there'll be other stories. And there'll be other controversies along the way, you can guarantee it. If you stick with me, and I hope you do. I would imagine the people that are still here will stick with me. This will happen from time to time. It always does. Why? Because from time to time, I like to throw that social hand grenade into the mix. I like to knock people out of that comfort zone. And I never, ever want to end up with an echo chamber. Ever. So please, feel free to disagree, but just don't drag it into the realms of hate. That's when we become like any other chat room, like any other show. And I think because of all of you out there, you set us apart from anything else. You really do. That's how much credit I give all of you out there. Honestly. Yous are a bigger part in this show than I am. It's always the way it's going to be, and I'll always roll like that. But I'll also always roll with honesty as well. And if it's a black pill and fear you're after, I can recommend 101 channels to you right now. But I'm not going to do that, because that isn't the journey we're on. And I think if you're on the Kev Baker show right now and you've lasted this long and you're still listening to tonight's show, then I know you're on that journey too. Like Connie said, we all fell down that rabbit hole at some point. We're all at different stages of that fall, of this new reality that we're coming to learn about, trying to seek truth about. And I hope together we can do it for the long term. At one point today, I honestly could not motivate myself to do anything. I thought to myself, well, what is the point going back on tonight when people are just going to have the attitude that I was reading in my email box? However, how wrong could I be? We should never judge a whole group by one or two individuals, and that's something I learned today. I should have known all of you lot would have my back. That's on me. So until next time, folks, and there will be a next time. Oh, I'm hearing something going on in the background. Oh, do you know what that was? See that music? It's my super chat music, right? So when I heard the start of that tune, I thought, oh, there's a super chat. Why can't I see a super chat? Now I know why, because it's the super chat song. Folks, I'm out of here. I'm going to go and play Scrabble. I hope... Oh, there is a super chat coming in now, just to confuse me while the super chat is on. Pete, One Polynation. Member for life. Dude. Big up, Polly. Big up. Okay,
Member
so...
for life.
Yeah.
PPP.
PPP. Still no PPP. That didn't help today either. Taking abuse on that level with no PPP. Dang, it's wonders Windows didn't get smashed in here or something. I'm only joking, folks. I'm out of here. So what I'll do is I won't butcher my outro because I've got it saved. I've still got it saved. Yes, indeed. So I'm going to put on our usual going out track. Then I'll let you all get back to it. And I'll be back tomorrow. Safe space in the afternoon and Freaky Friday. And I am going to get a phone line so that we can use the phones when we're on the stream as well. Look forward to that. I'm out of here, folks. Keep it real. Remember, as well, I don't even need to do my thing. I was about to do it. Anne's laughing. She's laughing because she realizes what I was about to do there. When in reality, I can do it with one touch of a button. Are you ready? You ready to see this, folks? You ready to see how I do it with one? I can do it without even moving my lips. Hang on. Ready? Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo. No, Anne, I'm not showing off, Anne. Would I show off? No. Would I show off? Would I?